next topic, which will be the AOC story. And for those that didn't know, AOC had a recruit. I mean, we did a segment. I'll just do this way. We did a segment. AOC. Let me add this in here. Military recruitment event goes viral. Now, I didn't even know it went viral like this. Like, I didn't know it went on Fox News. Yeah, Fox News. Democracy Now. Major networks are covering this. So, what we're gonna do? Oh my God. Okay, so let's start. Let's start with the Democracy Now video. I guess we'll start there. Yeah, let's start there. This is gonna hurt a little bit, especially when we get to her Instagram response, which is just total bonkers to me. But when we get to that, you'll see. Oops. Let me pause it and set it up a little bit better here. It's only about a two minute video, but it does go viral. I mean, it reaches Democracy Now! And Fox News. That's pretty viral. So, but let me make sure I don't miss anything. And I also want to shout out new member Lauren. Thank you, new member Lauren, for joining. And then this super chat. Sam won't bring up Medicare for all. Wonder why? You notice, yeah, they all, since they're piggybacking off of somebody to their right, or somebody who's not as good. So you have the squad who's piggybacking off of the imperialist Democratic Party leadership, and then you have the Bernie Sanders industrial complex who's piggybacking off of Bernie Sanders and all of his disciples, which is the AOC. And when the Democratic Party go right, everybody who's hanging on to somebody goes right. And that's essentially how it works. All right, so let's now I don't need to include him. Anyway, let's go to this next story. I will shout out in between stories. I will shout this out and have a short announcement. Subscribe to our Substack if you haven't done so already. Our Substack is where you get notifications when we go live. Nick will be going live tonight, so if you get on our Substack now, you'll get that notification. I don't know the exact time. I don't see it posted yet, so I don't know what time that is. But if you're on a Substack, you will get that notification. We're at 380 likes right now. We got up to 475 people at a point. So let's get to 450. So 450, that's only about 70 people hitting the like button. So 70 people watching right now. If you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. Let's get to 450 likes. Don't forget, we have memberships. We had a new member today, and then our website, revolutionaryblackoutnetwork.com. And let's see if there's any other. Let's see. Here is a super sticker. Thank you. Aberdeen71. Thank you for the super sticker. Always very generous with all of the RBN members streams. So we do notice you. Thank you for that. All right. So now let's get back into the story here. And here we go. Aaron, you can begin here. AOC military recruitment event goes viral, and then she finally replies with a BS response. Now, we had actually covered this. Was it 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago on Monday. Nick and I covered it on as it was like the day it happened. So yeah, the day before maybe. Was it Sunday? Yes, it was Sunday. We did do a stream on Sunday. So we covered this on Sunday, and it was going to be happening the next day. So we covered it on the 19th, and it happened on the 20th. Now, so just to recap, that first part. Oh, and actually, I can show you. Let me. It's on Twitter. Where was that? Oh, I can go to my bookmarks. So actually, let's do that. So let's show you the actual graphic. Now, may have to do a little bit of scrolling here, will I? So this is other receipts we're going to be using for the story, but we're not ready for those yet. So just stand by for those. But here is the receipt I'm looking for. So this is what everybody's talking about here. I put it here so it'll open up like this. So this is what started it all, is this flyer right here, or graphic if you want to call it. Student Services Fair, hosted by Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So when they say, why do people think she hosted it? It says hosted by. It says hosted by on the graphic. And they say, what do you mean? This is a student fair. Why do you think it's a military recruitment center or event? Well, let's see. If it's a student fair, you're going to list some of the people that are going to be there at the student fair, right? You're going to list all the organizations, right? So people can get an idea of the variety you're going to have at this student fair. Let's read who's going to be there. Join to learn about the resources available to students through our district office. We will be joined by special guests from U.S. Navy Academy, U.S. Air Force, U.S. Military Academy, U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, U.S. Coast Guard Academy, U.S. Department of Education, as well as congressional interns. Now, if there's any other people that's going to be there at this student service event, why are just military people mentioned here? But they want to act like we're crazy. AOC, the professional managerial class. And this is what they do. They go, we're smart. We can just make up a story about this, and people who believe in them, who follow them, will reject logic and reason and accept what AOC says in response to this. She gets a backlash. Let me see if I have any other receipts saved here. And we covered it. We showed Nick's tweet. It went, did pretty good. 1,100. He calls out, this is another flyer, but the flyer says the same thing. And I'll read to you. Right down here it says, we will be joined by special guests, the U.S. Navy, and it lists the same people in the same way. Right here. Nick posts that one. Comrade Misty, friend of the show, posts the same thing. AOC holding a military recruitment event. I didn't read Nick's. Anyone who still defends AOC at this point is suspect. Savvy Sab says AOC is trying to recruit black and brown high school kids to join military. So much for being a democratic socialist. Democratic socialist. Is this your queen? Goes viral. 2,200 likes, and I didn't mention Comrade Misty's 5,500 likes. So I believe this is the tweet she's talking about when we get to her video, when she says a rumor was started by somebody. This is the first one, the people that went off. So this is the viral tweet that got even this event so well known all over Twitter. So remember, this is the tweet. So now let's go to the video. What do I have the full video here? Where's I just about to play that video? 1 second, yeah. Now I'm going to come back. This is some of the protests there, but let's go in order. This is some of the protests there. So now let's show her video. Oh, I have it here. So this is why. So let me bring it to the center screen and play it. One of the activists who has protested AOC
showed everything that went.
Transferred the Instagram video to YouTube, and that's Blue Moon Red Wine. So that's where we're getting this video that has been transferred to YouTube. So it was screenshot and put on YouTube, and let's watch. For me, this was excruciating to watch. Hearing a liar, and to me, in my opinion, not a person good at lying, trying to sell lies, it's painful for me. So let's listen to AOC and her excuses about this. And this is AOC's response.
Because people can just like politics is so crazy because people can just like wake up and make up whatever they want to say about you, and it'll be totally false, and people will just believe it, right? They'll just believe it. So today, someone made up a rumor that me, was hosting a military recruitment fair for high schoolers. Now, like, does that sound like something I would do? Like, no shade to anybody, but just me. Does that sound like something I would do? No? Then basic due diligence would mean ask a follow-up question, right? Like, just because someone is like said something on Twitter and posted a screenshot, like, ask the next step is not I'm just going to believe that and share it. The next step is let me ask a follow-up question, right? But that didn't happen today. So what did happen today? Well, a lot of people don't know that
So I had turned my mic off so I wouldn't talk and let it play for a good minute. It was hard. We're going to go back and just talk about each thing she points out here.
Because people can just like politics is so crazy because people can just like wake up and make up whatever they want to say about you, and it'll be totally false, and people will just believe it, right?
Politics is so crazy because you could just wake up and people talk about a graphic that I put out myself where I have military recruiters on the graphic listed. It's so crazy. Politics is so crazy. People can do that and people actually believe it. The gaslighting. The gaslighting by this person.
They'll just believe it. So today, someone made up a rumor that I
made up a rumor. I showed you the two graphics. The one graphic with her face, and it says hosted by, and the two reps, AOC along with I can't remember the other guy's name.
Me was host.
Oh, this part right here. Right, this part right here. Where she tries to give effect. Like that they're saying me. Like, so this is what she's trying to sell. She's saying to her audience on Instagram, and again, what happened was on Twitter. Instead of responding on Twitter to combat the so-called rumors she's talking about, she just goes to Instagram, liberal bastion, the progressive hellhole called Instagram. So she can get a friendly audience to sell this bogus bullshit story to. And what she's doing here is challenging her audience, her stands, hey, based on the narrative I've created and sold you, does this sound like something I would do?
Me was hosting a military recruitment.
Let me rewind a little more.
Someone made up a rumor that me, was hosting a military recruitment fair for high schoolers. Now, like, does that sound like something I would do?
All the propaganda out there that's calling me a leftist, does that match up? Does this truth match up with that propaganda narrative? I don't know, AOC. Let's see. Let's see if it lines up with you. Let's go right here. So it was so many titles, so many headlines, I couldn't even bring them up all. So I just have to scroll through there. So let's see, AOC. Let's see, have you done anything else that doesn't sound like you? Or doesn't sound like the narrative that you're supposed to have? Let's see. Here goes one right here. AOC, but actually, let's do this. Take the address and put it in the window. Let's go to this first one. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez pledges to put aside differences with Democratic leadership after Republican concessions. And then they have that. Republican confessions too far right. This is where she decided to unify with Hakeem Jeffries, the guy who's behind a pact to get rid of or make sure there's no more progressives that are elected. This is what she means. Put aside differences like policy. I don't know. Does that sound not like you, AOC? Let's go to more. Now I'm building up here. Let's see. Let's go here to this one. Let's read this headline. AOC praises Biden, defends war against Russia, and attacks socialist critics in interview with The Intercept. Does this sound like you, AOC? Let's go to another one. Let's not even go to this. Let's do a different one than that one. Here goes one, and to top this one off, the person who she's a disciple for went along with her on this one. AOC, Sanders, and the DSA vote for war. So when AOC in this video says, does that sound like me? We all said that with all these other headlines that I brought up. When she voted for Ukraine war, we all said, does that sound like AOC? Or the better question is, how come you didn't ask us that question when you voted for Ukraine funding? How come you didn't say that when you changed your vote on the Iron Dome? How come you didn't say that? So let's resume the video of this obvious attempt at retaining progressives and liberals. She knows she's already lost real socialists and anybody to the left of that. She's already know that. That's why she goes to Twitter. I'm sorry, Instagram. The same thing happened when she was getting drugged for her vote to break a strike. Remember, she finally responded, relational harm? That was released on Instagram too.
Like, no shade to anybody, but just me. Does that sound like something I would do? Yes. No? Then
we saw the headlines.
Basic due diligence would mean ask a follow-up question, right? Like, just because someone is like said something on Twitter and posted a screenshot, like, ask the next step is not I'm just going to believe that and share it. The next step is let me ask a follow-up question, right? But that didn't happen today. So what did happen today? Well, a lot of people don't know that your member of Congress can extend a lot of opportunities to you, especially if you're in high school. And there are things, for example, did you know that there's a congressional art challenge that happens every year? And if your piece of art is selected by your member of Congress, then you and your family fly to Washington. It gets hung up in the U.S. Capitol. It's a big deal if you want to apply.
This is her trying to gain sympathy. This is such, you know who does this a lot? Rokana does this. When he does something bad and then have an interview with Brianna, why this? Why that? He'll go, look, I prove I'm progressive. I've done da 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 da. And then he'll go back to answering the question. This is what she's doing. She's trying to give you some good without even addressing that this was a military event also, or military recruiters were there. So let's listen to more of her answer.
At colleges and schools. There's also a congressional app challenge for high schoolers as well. And if you can design an app, which Melissa right over here.
Now, interesting. She's showing visual receipts of the app part. I wonder if she's going to visually show the receipt of a huge face, her face on the wall at this event, because she was the one hosting it. And there's a person, a parent, who went inside to this event, who came out, we're going to play the video, who talks about this. So we'll get to that video, but let's listen to more of this bullshit story that she's concocted.
Did and won. It's also a really, really big deal. And you can have just like so much progress for college or any other opportunities as well. City Year, which is over there, provides a gap year if you're not ready to go to college.
So was City Year, I think that's how she said it, were they listed? Or why weren't they listed on the thing, on the flyer?
College, you can spend a gap year in service. And so we held a student services fair to show all of the opportunities that are available to high school students. There were a small amount that had to do with our U.S. service academies.
There was a small amount that had to do with them. A small amount. That's all.
Now, maybe you haven't heard of what a service academy is. Maybe you have. But maybe you've heard of institutions like West Point or Annapolis. And these are kind of like colleges, universities, military colleges, universities, except there is a requirement.
So, do you know you are enlisting when you go to West? Do you know that? Does she know that? So this is where she's trying to sell this as you're just getting an education. That's what she's trying to do here. So let's listen some more. I got more to say about this particular part.
In my job, part of my job just comes with the role.
Here she lies. This is the lie.
You cannot apply to these schools without a nomination, a federal nomination from your member of Congress, your representative, your senator, the vice president of the United States, or the president of the United States. You cannot apply.
I mean, I don't have to even look that up. And this didn't even have to be a viral video. And if I just offer my lived experience, I would already know that sounds suspicious. Because what she's telling me, and I don't even know how many students, I'm going to look it up in a second, but without me knowing how many students go to West Point, I think that's what she's using as an example. So this is what she's basically saying. So there's something set up where the people who go to West Point can only apply if they have a personal referral from somebody elected in Congress. So these old forts in Congress is supposed to know thousands of people new every year that's accepted into West Point. That's how this works. That's how I would analyze this. And I haven't even looked up anything. But let's look up West Point freshman class amount. Let's see. Or class size. There we go. Let's see if I get a total. Okay, it says 1,200 U.S. citizens, 1,200 freshmen. So every year, 1,200 people in our Congress people is supposed to know 1,200 people. So Nancy Pelosi been in Congress for 30 years. So for 30 years, she's recommending somebody. You see how that sounds suspicious, what AOC is saying? It sounds suspicious because it's a lie. Sabby covers it in the interview we do, or we're going to cover when she goes on Rising. But let's continue with the video with AOC.
Apply without that letter. And so we have a responsibility to inform people of that process. And there were a couple tables
so
there.
She's trying to say, I'm there because I'm required to be here, everybody. I'm required. The majority of the people who go to these schools get referrals from ROTC programs, which sounds a whole lot more likely and feasible than what she's trying to convince you of. She's simply fudging the truth, leaving out information in order to concoct a story. This seems to be very common with the professional managerial class. Ryan Grimm does it a lot, just leaving out information. Matt Duss, former Bernie Sanders foreign policy guy, does this a lot. But let's continue.
There today to talk about that. Now, among all of these tables, and even that was like such a small fraction of all the tables and stuff that was there. We even had the Department of Education come in, representatives, to deliver a presentation.
You notice she keeps showing this one side. I wonder if it's because the other side has the big, huge picture that shows her. I wonder if that's the case.
On the changes to FAFSA that are coming up. In case you don't know, the FAFSA application process and some of those things are changing. And so people really need to know that. A lot of kids do their FAFSA on their own. I had to file my FAFSA by myself, and this is really important information to have. So, I mean, judge for yourself. Does this look like a recruitment fair to you?
I'm going to give you an analogy. Let's say, she said, let me let this play.
No, but
it does look like a recruitment fair.
But
this small section, let's say if it doesn't look, this small section doesn't. This small section that you're showing, AOC, why don't you pan around the whole room? And yes,
we started a rumor that's what was going on. Everyone just believed it and accepted it.
Nobody started a rumor. We looked at a flyer that told us this. This person, I really don't even understand how anybody can believe this person. How is anyone still believing this?
This is really important information to have. So, I mean, judge for yourself. Does this look like a recruitment fair to you?
Yes.
No.
So let me give you an analogy. Say you see a flyer, a graphic. It says Male Appreciation Day. Or we can even say Black Male Appreciation Day. Let's say it had that on there. Hosted by CJ. My picture's on there. Then it said special guests like Savannah, Cinnamon, Chocolate Thunder, like all these stripper names. If my wife saw that, would she look at that as a men's appreciation? Or would she look at that, motherfucker, this, you got strippers coming over here. This is what AOC is trying to tell us. And then I'm going to respond to my wife, what do you mean, babe? What do you mean? What do you mean? This is not a military recruitment center. Event. This is not a stripping or a dancer event. They have snacks and punch. They have brochures of, that shows men how to check for prostate cancer. They have brochures on how to mentor young Black youth. How does that change the list of slippers, is what my wife would say. What the fuck does that have to do with the list of strippers on this flyer, Jay? Or she calls me James. It sounds ridiculous. And I wanted to use sort of a ridiculous example to point out how absurd this explanation she has is us. Because all you're doing is telling us everything else is there without telling us the recruitment part. You're telling us about the tables and showing us the people. Show us the tables with the recruiters. You acknowledge it's a small portion. That seems like the small portion. Show us the small portion. Show us the small portion where this just military recruiters. This seems pretty small. Is it smaller than this? Where you're showing us?
But somebody started a rumor that that's what was going on. Everyone just believed it and accepted it. And the problem is when large accounts started to platform this, and then it starts spreading like wildfire. And it results in demands to cancel this event or for me to not.
You see? So she had to establish and tell you all the good without telling you anything about the military recruiting part so that she can come and use it to play victim. Look, people are saying we should close this event. And she's saying, look at all the good stuff that's going to be affected. That's like saying getting rid of private insurance, and then their response is, look at all the employees that's going to be affected if we get rid of private insurance. Then don't tie military recruiting with student fairs. How about you don't do that? Then you won't get this response, AOC, because even if all of what you're saying is true, you, as a supposed socialist, should be like, I'm not going to use my name to be involved with any military recruiting at any high school.
Not show up to it.
trying to play victim.
Which would almost be like canceling, it's canceling an appearance. And so for doing this today, I was really subject to
doing this today. Now you're going to tell us how you were subject to something, Miss Victim AOC, right? You were subject to something. This is clown shit right here.
A lot of really vile rhetoric and attacks all day to day because of a rumor. And I can't stress how much
a rumor. You see how she keeps using this word? She's trying to change the narrative because of a rumor. It wasn't a rumor. We looked at a graphic that only listed military people. And then two government agencies. The educational department and something else. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, I'm going to go from this. I can't take that much
this
more.
This is not just a right-wing thing.
This whole video. It's just not
social media algorithms incentivize conflict. They incentivize misinformation.
She is a chaos agent. This narrative she's given is completely nonsensical, and then in the end she acts like she gave some receipts. But we're not gonna. There's no way I can get through this nonsense with this person right here. But let's listen to what how they're talking about it on Fox News. And I hate to do this to you, but we do got to listen to a little bit of Jesse Waters. He is one of the people I avoid on Fox News. His voice is just annoying. So, but let's listen to Jesse Waters and how it's covered on Fox News. Now, of course, I don't expect him to cover it in any substantive way. Maybe he's covering it, of course, to take a jab at her. So let's listen to how he covers it.
AOC has a big problem, a serious problem. She's now finding out that in politics, people lie.
Politics is so crazy because people can just wake up and make up whatever they want to say about you, and it'll be totally false, and people will just believe it, right? They'll just believe it. So today, someone made up a rumor that was hosting a military recruitment fair.
Yes, you.
For high schoolers. Now, does that sound like something you do?
Yes.
Now, it's okay to be a little skeptical when you're sending billions to Ukraine and voting for Biden's defense budget. But AOC says those are rumors, just not true. She said all she did was hold a recruitment fair where high schoolers just happened to be recruited into the military. But that's not the point. The point is AOC is realizing that lies are mean.
I was really subject to a lot of really vile rhetoric and attacks all day to day.
I don't want to hear your description. Show me what it is. I'll determine if it's vile or not.
I can't stress how much this is not just a right-wing thing. A lie can go out the door and run around the world before the truth has the time to put on its shoes. And it really has an effect because these campaigns are usually targeted most towards candidates and officials of color and women.
AOC is now fighting disinformation. And AOC, of all people, thinks we shouldn't be able to trust those who lie to us.
If you're trying to impact the decisions that are made, but you have lied in the past about the decision makers, then why should people believe anyone with a track history of sharing misinformation and then not owning up to it?
That's a good question. But it's not like AOC would ever make anything up, right? It's not
I can't believe AOC is playing. Well, thank God that RBN is here. Because could you imagine going through these things with the squad, AOC, progressive, and the strategy, Nina Turner, all this stuff, and you didn't have RBN's voice to say, hey, this is some nonsense that y'all are doing over here. Now, here's one of the, actually, let me read this. Let me pause it, and then I'll read what it says here. Now, this is one of the parents that came out of the meeting. So, but let me read the caption here. Let me read what it says. It says, a first-hand account of what a demonstrator saw upon walking in before and getting kicked out. So this is a demonstrator. She went inside and then was kicked out. So let's listen to what it said.
Was there early, and I said that I wanted to get in. I wanted to take notes. I'm involved with an organization. I didn't tell them we are not your soldiers. Wanted to try to find a teacher. A giant sign of AOC, a giant picture when you walk in the lobby. 2 colonels entered while I was there. Also, they were handing this out. U.S. Naval Academy, U.S. Air Force, U.S. Military Academy, Merchant Marines, Coast Guard Academy. And so it is obvious that the whole lobby was filled.
Now, why didn't AOC have this part? You know how she was supposedly showing receipt? Look, does this look like a military recruiting? You notice she only kept the one tight spot, which was by the stage and not the entrance, which this eyewitness account is talking about. What she's describing, all the military shit, passing out the leaflets, was happening at the front door, which AOC never shows in her victim video. So let's listen, continue to listen here. This is a minute video. We're about halfway through, but I'm going to rewind it back to about 20 seconds so we can hear.
Walk in the lobby. 2 colonels entered while I was there. Also, they were handing this out. U.S. Naval Academy, U.S. Air Force, U.S. Military Academy, Merchant Marines, Coast Guard Academy. And so it is obvious that the whole lobby was filled with uniformed people, with cops, and with officers of the military.
We never saw that in her video. We never saw that, and I have another video that shows another angle, and you can see some of the cops. How come that's not in there, AOC? When you pan, when you not even pan, when you show, does this look like a military recruitment? How come none of your footage shows all of this stuff? Lying sack of shit.
In all of the papers. Shame to AOC to connect with this. Unfortunately, they told me that they changed the rules. At first, they said I could get in once all the students were seated, but then they said I had to leave. I was there early, and
so she was seated for a while, and then they got rid of her. I guess commotions. You know, this started happening. I guess, and that's what happened. But anyway, let me go back to my bookmarks and see what else I have. Here, it starts right. Oh, here is where you can. I think you can see. So, and this is. Oh, let me shout out the person who I'm getting this. This is U.S. NATO. This is Box Kami at BX Kami is the one that's providing all of this. Public school parents are blocked from entering the AOC-sponsored predatory military recruiting event in the Bronx by a wall of police. AOC released video of full speeches you gave the full room military recruiters and AOC, released a video of the full speech you gave to the full room. So, in that video shot she had, none of these people were in there. Remember how she showed, does this look like a military recruitment center? No, but this does. This looks like the entrance to a military recruitment center. And I go to school events, small kids, not even high school, and ain't ever seen no police there. Ever. Go to a PTA event, back to school night, all these events I go to, ain't never police there. Not one. Why does this one have all these people? AOC, man, has been fully exposed. I don't understand. If you still are following this girl, I mean, this lady, I don't get it. And this is a protester was at the march. His brother was in the military and was killed at a military base. And I'll show you the article in just a second, but let's listen to his brother speak, and I'll read the caption. Outside the AOC-sponsored U.S. military recruitment event, a low-income public high school in the Bronx, we invited Mohammed Latifu to speak, who is seeking justice for his 21-year-old brother, Abdul Latifa, who was murdered in January at Fort Rucker, a U.S. military base. So he's outside of this school, high school, where they're having this military recruiting event, and here's him talking about it.
So today, no answers, no phone call stating that, oh yes, we're just trying to give you something tangible to keep your mind at peace. My father can't sleep. My mom can't sleep. I can't sleep. Yet my brother, it's not here with us. He's gone forever. Yeah, they said, and I quote, they have arrested somebody. We still don't have no updates as to what this person is. We constantly have to find out information on our own, on the news outlet down south. This is absurd. And it's sickening. So anybody who is thinking about enlisting their kid to the military, I think you better think again. Don't do it. I wouldn't.
Right. Study abroad for free.
Exactly. Don't do it, because I wouldn't. I wouldn't even dare ask my kids, friends, anybody to join the military. Any sector. I don't care what it is, what they're doing to quote unquote serve the protect the country, because they're not. They're killing your own. They're molesting these women that go over there, these kids, young men and women that go over there, sexually harass them, and then kill them. Then try to cover it up. And then they'll tell you sorry for what happened, our condolences. No, keep your condolences.
Mm-hmm.
We want answers. That's what we want, really.
Justice.
Justice for everybody who had to endure this, and for the families who had to endure this. You understand me? You don't know what they're going through at night. A sudden death, it's not what a parent wants to hear.
Sudden death. No explanation. So there is an article. Excuse me. I think I have.
So today, no answers.
I think it's saved here. Yeah, right here. So let me bring it up. And he's from the Bronx. So this is AOC's constituent. Let me actually put the article actually in the screen here, and this is his brother, and I'll read the caption of the picture. It says, U.S. Army private, I'm assuming PVT stands for private, Abdul Latifa died on January 10th at Fort Rucker, a U.S. Army base in Alabama. The Army says his death stemmed from injuries during an accident with another soldier. Bronx family looking for answer after soldier killed on Alabama Army base. Mohammed Latifa says he wants answers after his 21-year-old brother, Private Abdul Latifa, died on January 10th at Fort Rucker. So yeah, just terrible. But now look at this young man's face, AOC, if you're watching. What if this young man what if a young man just like him showed up to an event, your student fair, to make a decision on what he wanted to do with his life, and he came because they're into you in politics, and they came to an event because you were going to be there. And then a military recruiter gets a hold of him. How are you not responsible for that? So you can say all you want. Oh, we were doing this. We were serving tea and cookies on the other side. All this other stuff you want to say doesn't take away you're still doing the military recruiting part. And these are the faces they're getting from her particular area. Faces that look like this young man. He is actually from the Bronx. If he was alive, he would be her constituent. These people. Like Nick says, at this point, if you're still following the fantasy of the progressive Democrats, AOC, like, it's laughable. Like, this is a joke. This is literally a joke. And this picture also blew up. What is this here? This says, please share. We're here at the AOC military recruitment fair. Security isn't letting in parents who have registered. They want to talk to their kids alone, and that got 27. And then she goes on to clarify. To clarify further, they let in some parents with their kids and others they blocked, while letting in all kids who came alone. AOC snuck in the side door and then either waited until long after it was over or left through another entrance we weren't near. So these are people on the ground that we know, like Blue Moon, another person from the Bronx, Jose Vega, who does a lot of the. So these are people that's in her district doing this reporting. And she's just making up stories. We already covered that video, so we don't need to do that. So shout out to Box Kami. Shout out to Box Kami for getting us a lot of this, or getting, sending a lot of footage to me at least, and a few others. So shout out to Box Kami. Now let me show you. Let me see the other thing I got. I'm going to bring it up in another screen here. Okay, Sabby sent me that video. I played that one, Sabby. Let's see if there's another one. All right, so I think I got all the receipts. And I got that one. Oh! I forgot to play. I don't think I played the Democracy Now! Video. So let's do that. So that's the next one I'm going to play. Is the Democracy Now! Video, which is right here. Well, maybe it'll let me know if I played it or not. But let's play it and see. So hang on a second. It's still pulling up. It'll change on your screen in just a second here. Okay, so I think I was gonna play it and then I held off on playing because I think I held off on playing. But let me start it and see if it jogs a memory. I think I held off. I'm playing it. Let's minimize that. All right, so this is Democracy Now! Covering, and how they cover it. It says a rally at a Bronx high school Monday protested a military recruitment and job fair event hosted by U.S. Congressperson Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Adriano Esplata. I think that's how you say it. Advocates accuse AOC of backtracking on her anti-war campaign promise. So I don't, that doesn't ring a bell, so I don't think I played this video. So let's listen to the coverage. It's less than 2 minutes on Democracy Now! About this event.
In solidarity. And here in New York, dozens of community organizers, parents, teachers, and students rallied at Bronx High School Monday protesting a military recruitment and job fair event hosted by New York Congress members Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Adriano Espaillat. The so-called Student Services Fair featured representatives of the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. Advocates accused Ocasio-Cortez of backtracking on her anti-war campaign promises and policies opposing predatory military recruitment tactics that predominantly target Black, Brown, Latinx, and low-income students. In 2020, Ocasio-Cortez proposed a ban against military recruitment on Twitter, while she later pushed for a bill amendment that would have halted federal funding for military recruitment in middle and high schools. Richie Marino is an organizer with the Bronx Anti-War Coalition, speaking at Monday's rally at Renaissance High School, which took place on the 20th anniversary of the U.S. invasion of Iraq.
A lot of youth here are struggling to find jobs. Many youth here are not prepared to go to college, right? Instead of bringing military recruiters here, we should be having a jobs fair. We should be having a college fair. Renaissance High School is an arts and theater school. Where are the arts and theater programs represented here, AOC? You're saying this is a student services fair. Where are the services for the youth?
Richie Marino was speaking with.
So this is an arts and theater school. Why would they even be there? Why are they even part, like as an option at an arts and theater school? That would be my question, because I went to a performing arts school for a time. And that's the whole point, is you're going there because that's the sort of the career path you want to go, whatever art or performing arts that you are attending for.
With Democracy Now!'s Sanji Lopez, organizers also demanded justice for Vanessa Guillen and Ana Basuldio Ruiz, two Latina women who were killed after they reported.
I'm going to let this play. But AOC, two other young faces, two more people of color, young faces, along with Abdul, who we showed earlier, in your district. These are the people that can get caught up with the military because you decided to lend your face and your likeness to bring in these people, leading them down the path of these three who have lost their lives here. And let me rewind so we can get the full story of those two.
There's also demanded justice for Vanessa Guillen and Ana Basuldio Ruiz, two Latina women who were killed after they reported being sexually assaulted at Fort Hood Army Base in Texas. Guillen in 2020, Ruiz last week, and 21-year-old Abdul Latifu, who was murdered in January by another soldier at Fort Rucker in Alabama. Latifu was from the Bronx.
So that's all their story. Now, they printed some sort of retraction for calling it a military recruitment after AOC contacted them. That's some real journalism going on at Democracy Now!, huh?